This is another game of Two-Headed Dragon that we played at the Portland Game Store in Portland, Oregon. We had a new player join us, Griff, and so we randomized the teams. At the top of the screen, on the top left, is myself, and my teammate is Kellen, playing Death Speaker. On the bottom left is Griff, playing Avatar of Air, and his partner is Stu, playing Templar deck. Turn 1, looks like I get a Glastonbury out, Kellen gets Ruins out when we pass turn. So some early threshold fixing. Turn 1 for Griff and Stu. Griff getting, Griff hitting like a burst play here for his first turn. Getting a tower into Falconer with the +1 mana, and then searching out a Palaberry Bats. Stu just creating, playing out a Forge, creating the Lance token and picking it up. Kellen with the Ruins moving towards the center of the board. Turn 2, Highland Princess. So he gets the search for a relic of 1 cost or less. He gets an Onyx Core. And I play out a village to the center, pay 1 to create a Foot Soldier token. And I believe we pass turn here. So I do apologize. The lighting on the right-hand side of the screen is pretty blown out. We got some pretty bad glare on this video. You kind of have to, you're stuck with whatever the lighting conditions are at the store when you're shooting at a game store. And I did my best to digitally reconstruct some parts of that board where applicable, just so you could see what was going on in the future. Griff getting a solid start on his deck here. He's got his defensive sight out, Perilous Bridge. He's flying the bats forward using the Avatar of Air ability and then attacking in for 2 points of damage. Stu, looks like he got a, I want to say that's a step. And he's passing turn. Kellen playing out a Lighthouse. And positioning it forward again. Swinging for 1 with the Highland Princess. I play out a Bedrock. Magic of Missiles onto the Palaberry Bats and the Falconer to remove those from the board. And we pass turn back. Kellen also looks like he got out an Apprentice Wizard for that card draw. Griff just continuing to build his defensive wall here. He's got the Great Wall out, preventing me from entering on the ground through that top border. And then playing out a Tooth Fairy. Stu playing out a Pebbled Path to remove any charge abilities nearby. And playing out a Sir K with his Templar mana discount for 3 onto the tournament ground. Stu also getting a good start here with his Templar deck. Getting the tournament ground out turn 2 in the center of the board is very advantageous, just because the Sirs and Knights in the Arthurian Legends sets are very, very threshold intensive. And so being able to get that fixed early gives that deck a huge advantage. Fourth sight for me, I'm playing out a Windmill and choosing to connect my sights with Kellen's sights Kellen paying 1 to play out that Onyx core he fished out earlier with the Highland Princess. And then 3 for a berry to remove Sir Kay. And then I believe swinging in for 2 points of damage here. 1 from the Highland Princess, 1 from the Apprentice Wizard. And I think that was it for our turn. I might have a play here. I have 4 mana in my mana pool. I don't think I've spent anything this turn yet. The fact that Griff turtled up early, it kind of really made me have to think a little bit harder about how I was going to get my avatar over there. Ultimately, I pass turn. I didn't have a play that I could that was worth making there. Griff and Stu beginning their turn, Templar tapping for a lighthouse, connecting their sites. So the benefit of connecting sites when you're playing a two-headed dragon is once your sites are connected, you can summon your minions to your teammates' sites and vice versa. So that gives you an added bit of flexibility and teamwork. Stu playing a White Knight, getting a ton of discount off of that. He's got the -2 because they are at lower health than Kellen and I, and also the -1 from the Templar. So paying 2 for that, and then paying 2 for an Excalibur to pick up on the Knight. The Excalibur giving the Knight +2 power, 1 power for each threshold that it has, making it a formidable piece on the board here. It looks like Griff attacking him with the 2 fairies, playing out a Plume Pegasus, passing turn back to us. Kellen playing out a windmill. And that sets Kellen's mana base at 5. 5 with the core. And we are discussing quite a bit what to do here. Stu and Griff exerting a lot of pressure on the board. Kellen attacking in with the Highland Princess and the Apprentice Wizard, just to see what Stu does with that. He declares no blocks. He didn't want to risk losing the White Knight. And then Kellen following up with a Black Plague. So he's going to lose the White Knight at the end of the turn anyways, since the weakest minion in that aura area of effect will die. And the White Knight is now the only minion in that area of effect. I'm playing 2 for Common Sense. Searching out, I think I get a grapple shot. A grapple shot, like Griffin Stu joke that the grapple shot, I can't grapple across the Perilous Bridge or the Great Wall on the ground, and they are correct. But my thinking at this point is I'll probably have to make some favorable value trades, and if he leaves those Tooth Fairies there, I can at least maybe get a grapple out to them, or get a grapple up to the lighthouse if needed. My last 2 mana for a Corefine Courser. A Concourser will carry the Avatar of Air, and then tapping for a sight. So I just wanted to start getting the Avatar of Earth into a better position where it can start swinging at something. And now Griffin Stew asking about asking about whether or not the Fine Courser is still carrying the Avatar of Earth, and they're asking specifically because Stu had a Chaos Twister in his hand, and so he was he didn't outright tell us during the game, but he was talking it over with Stu about what would happen if he played Chaos Twister. And the Avatar of Earth found itself in the void because it was being carried. We didn't remember off the top of our heads if the Avatar of Earth would attempt to enter the void and then be unable to, because avatars can't enter other regions. Or if it is one of those corner cases where the avatar finds itself in the void because it's being carried, and then the minion dies, and then the avatar is just kind of floating in the void. It is very, very unlikely that an avatar will find itself in that position mid-game, but there are some weird rules interactions where that does make that possible. Stu contemplating an attack in with the Templar to remove either the Highland Princess or the Apprentice Wizard from the board, thinking better of it just because they're both Genesis minions, and Kellen's playing Death Speaker, instead tapping for a sight. Looks like he drew, or he didn't draw, but he has a Verdant Knight. He's going to play out the Verdant Knight outside of the area of effect of the Black Plague. Griff attacking the Fine Courser with the Tooth Fairies, using the Avatar Bear to push the Plume Pegasus up. Torse Hammer Trinket onto the Pegasus, attacking into the village for 4 points. And then tapping for a Beacon Sight. So that was their turn, passing back to Kellen and I. Two-headed dragon, excuse me, a very fun social format for sorcery. This was a really enjoyable game to play with our local play group. We just kind of sat back and had some fun with it. We didn't min-max decks. You can kind of like preclude in the format to maybe create like optimal decks for Two-Headed Giant if you're in like if you want to run that type of tournament or not. But we just ran whatever decks we had, and we had a good time with it. Kellen trying to play a Divine Heal and realizing he didn't have the threshold for it, but instead I went ahead and played one because I had one in hand as well, and I do have the threshold for that. 3 Earth threshold. So paying 1 for that, it's a huge life swing for us, back up to 27. Just a reminder for Two-Headed Dragon format, once a team reaches 15 life, they get capped. Their life total gets recapped at 15. So there is some strategy involved in trying to get your opponent's team down to 15 in one burst, if there is a threat of them having heal effects, like Kellen and I do. I have 3 mana for turn here. Kellen just played a Clamor of Harpies. Clamor of Harpies, I believe gets to teleport the Verdant Knight. Verdant Knight is a 3-2 split power, so you would calculate power by adding 3 plus 2 and then dividing by 2 to get the average, which would be 2.5, which is less than 3. So that would qualify for the Genesis ability on the Clamor. I think I'm contemplating trying to use the grapple shot to take out this Plume Pegasus. I can't shoot it where I'm at just because it would have to hit the Tooth Fairies first. So I'm just choosing to take a step back onto the village and then using the grapple shot to remove that for 3 mana. Not the best play, but I needed to start getting some things off the board, I think. Or I felt pressured to start getting some things off the board. I didn't have a vector to get onto any of their sites to start swinging, unfortunately. So I think I just went with the better alternative that I could see at the time. Kellen choosing to sacrifice the Highland Princess to the Black Plague at the end of turn. So the Black Plague aura, again, like, it will stay in play until on Kellen's turn. If on Kellen's turn there are no minions to target by the Black Plague, it will then dispel itself. But as long as there is a valid target, it sticks around for another round. Stu playing an Annual Fair. Again, Annual Fair, like, not a card that people want to play, but a card that people sometimes have to play in decks if they are running very threshold intensive themes. So Stu and Griff kind of planning out their turn here, trying to figure out the best way forward to reestablish pressure on the board and kind of contest some of the board space here. Griff still in a pretty good defensive position here, unless unless I can draw a blink and start getting up into his sights. He is pretty well protected from the Avatar of Earth at this time. And just getting a ton of mobility from the Avatar of Air, being pretty cautious with the Avatar of Air, like keeping it on the back row there. But the Avatar of Air's ability, once per turn, it can fly a unit from its site to a nearby site. Can give him an incredible amount of mobility, especially when all of the minions in his deck are going to be airborne minions. Stu looks like he's playing out Sir Morian. So Sir Morian comes out, creates some additional tokens on entry. Griff playing a Hostegel, Torsammer Trinket onto the Tooth Fairy, and swinging in for 3 points of damage with the Tooth Fairy. And Stu figuring out what he wants to do with that Templar. I think he's going to maybe tap for a site. No, instead he's going to attack in for the Apprentice Wizard. So the Apprentice Wizard goes into the cemetery, picks up Excalibur just to make it harder for Kellen to get his hands on it, just in case. that's relevant. And I think choosing to choosing to remove that Apprentice Wizard just to make it harder for the Black Plague to stick around an additional turn here. So pass turn, and then at the end of our turn, if there is no longer a minion in that aura area of effect, the Black Plague will dispel. So Stu, I think, feeling like he's had to kind of like play around that thing the entire game, and so he wants to kind of hopefully remove that out, remove that off the board. Kellen playing a Fields of Camelon. So everybody has to choose a minion to keep, and then we pitch the rest here. Stu just getting rid of the tokens, and Griff getting rid of, I think, the Tooth Fairies, keeping the Host Eagle. It was a better value as a 3 power versus 2 power. Clamor of Harpies attacking into Sir Morian. Clamor of Harpies, unfortunately, was holding a lance as well. From when it entered play on its Genesis, it teleported in. I think that Verdant Knight killed it and then picked up the lance. So because of that, it's allowed to kind of strike first on Sir Morian. Killen having a pretty good turn here, playing a Violamp, ping the Templar for 2, calling a Feast for Crows, calling vampires out of Griff's deck, which is it's a blow to his Avatar of Air deck. He's running mono Avatar of Air. He's absolutely running all 3 vampires in that deck, and so clearing out all 3 is a huge win. And we do get to see Griff's hand because of that Feast for Crows. He has a Lightning Bolt, another Beacon, the Torse Hammer we already knew about, and then, like we were kind of alluding to or discussing at the beginning of the game, he has that Chaos Twister that he's holding. I think pivotably, I got a blink out on that turn, like I was talking about earlier, and I was able to blink my Avatar of Earth onto the Great Wall, onto the Great Wall, which gets it in position, and I think it can swing for 4 power. It's currently 4 power with the nearby Earth sites available. And then popping out a Kettle Top Leprechaun just to get that on the board. So Avatar of Earth threatening to swing in every turn now for 4 points of damage. It's not ideal, and unless I get some additional tools like a Rift Valley or an Earthquake or an Atlas Wanderer or something like that, I likely am only going to be able to get it powered up to 4 for the game, at least in the position that it is currently in on the board. Turns coming back to Griff and Stu. They're figuring out what they want to do here. The Black Plague, it should have dispelled, I think, on that last turn. We'll probably clean that up in a second here. Griff taking the opportunity to Lightning Bolts to remove the Clamor of Harpies. Griff playing out a Shade. trinket for 1, and pushing the eagle up and then attacking again for 4 points of damage in. Sir Peleus coming into the onto the board on top of the Avatar of Earth to be a speed bump blocker here. On our turn, it will be 7 power, which makes it more difficult to deal with. Again, the Avatar of Earth only representing 4 power. 4 power on the board where it currently is. Stu and Griff now down to 15 health, but I think we were kind of like just talking during the game, and they both said, like, well, we probably we don't have any healing abilities in our deck, so it's probably not as important when we get recapped here. Kellen and I, however, are 3 points away from getting recapped down to 15. I believe Kellen still has a Divine Heal in his hand, but with the threshold requirements, he I don't think is able to play it. Paying 2 for a land surveyor, and then Kellen playing looks like a site. He's got a Gothic Tower to create an additional mana on Genesis. And then using his remaining mana for Grandmaster Wizard to draw 3 cards. So, I mean, Kellen in our local group, he gravitates more towards control decks. So he frequently has a handful of cards in games when playing. Paying 2 for a Crusade on my side of the board. Swinging in for 3 points of damage with the boost. Threatening for 3. I think they're discussing right now if they're going to block with Ironside or not. And they're just, like having that discussion about whether or not they're being baited into blocking with that, and then I have a follow-up here to remove Ironside, or if they want to just let that through. And they are choosing the block. So 3 points in instead. So then I'm tapping for a Pillar of Zyros. Pillar, I think heals us at this point in the game back up to 30 with all the minions that are in cemeteries. And we wondered briefly when we were playing whether or not that was an errated card in Two-Headed Dragon, and you had to like specify a single opponent's cemetery to target with the Pillar's ability. But I mean, upon looking it up after the fact, it's not a card that Beast of the Bay chose to errata at this time, and so I think it affects all cemeteries. Death Speaker specifically, they did choose to limit the Death Speaker ability from being able to pull use its ability to pull minions from all cemeteries. I think just because during their playtesting they found that to be a little too powerful. And it's just like if everybody's running Vile Imps, for example, it gives the Death Speaker a huge advantage to pull from that pool. Flying the Shade with the with the Avatar of Air, playing a ring, attacking for 4. Taurus Hammer Trinket on Host Eagle, attacking for 4 again, so that's 8 points in. Pinging for 1 from the ring. So I think 9 points total with the ring ping. Stu playing Sir Agravain. Agravain is a dangerous piece on the board if it's allowed to stay alive, and if they can get enough minions on the board to take advantage of its ability. Just getting those free strikes, if it can maneuver itself in near the opponent's avatar, is huge. And then Stu playing Round Table. I think Round Table is you draw a card every time you summon a Sir or Knight, I think, to the site that it's on. Swinging for 2 with the Templar. Kellen choosing to block with the Grand Master Wizard. So Grand Master Wizard goes back into the cemetery. And just cleaning up the board state here, getting that stealth token on the Sir Agravain that he comes in to play with. And then passing turn back to Kellen and myself. So starting a turn here. I've got like a damage potential of 8 points of damage coming in on my side. Kellen playing his own ring out, so now both teams have a ring on the board in the game. Kind of discussing heavily with Kellen at this point, just because they've created a more complex board state in this game, with some more specific threats that require attention. So we're trying to like just triage like what is the biggest threat that we have to deal with collectively on the board here, and like how can we go about doing it. Kellen tapping just to play out another site to give himself another mana. Playing a Root Spider under the bedrock to disable that shade. And I am choosing to put a Guisarme onto my Avatar of Earth, and then swinging in to the site. I think it's a lighthouse that I'm on right now. Still 4 power from Earth sites based on where I'm sitting, so that's doubled to 8 points of damage in. Getting them pretty close to door. I know it is risky, kind of having that Guisarme being held by the Avatar of Earth, especially if we can't get them to door on this turn. And then just kind of having that stick around. Choosing to go ahead and just dispel the Ring of Morgan. That'll unfortunately also catch my Crusade, but I felt like the trade was potentially worth it. And then just kind of rolling the dice with still holding the Grim Guisarme on this turn to see if they can get any strike damage in. I felt a little safer doing that just because I'm sitting right next to a pebbled path. That Stu has a pebbled path next to the Avatar of Earth. So even if they had any minions with charge, they wouldn't be able to get those attacks in immediately. Kellen having an answer for Agravain, he uses a lightning bolt to remove Agravain from the table, and then attacking in for a point of damage with the Land Surveyor. And I think there was a ping. There was a ping from casting as well. So Griff and Stu getting dangerously close to door here. They are likely going to door on the next turn. Once they pass turn to us. The chances are very high. Stu playing out a Tom Thumb. Tom Thumb, just an annoying recursion like blocker at this point with Avatar of Earth. It's not something that I'm super happy to see on the board against my Avatar of Earth. Stu, I think, also playing out a Sir Bors. And Griff. They're doing a reposition really quick to have Stu cast and summon Tom Thumb to the round table so they can get that additional card draw from the round table. And then Griff, I think, playing another Phantasmal Shade, summoning it to the site that the Avatar of Earth is on, and then Torse Hammer attacking in with the Haast Eagle for 4 points again. So Kellen and I are starting our turn again. I'm a little nervous, still holding on to the Grim Kosarme. Just they have a lot of pieces on the board. Only 2 of which that they can currently get to. Kellen Iron Shackles plays an Iron Shackles onto Tom Thumb to help neutralize that piece. So currently, like from what we can see on the board, the greatest threats we have are from Sir Bors, who can ranged attack in for 4 points to the Avatar of Earth, and the Phantasmal Shade that is sharing a site with the Avatar of Earth. Kellen contemplating his next moves here. He got a ping off from playing the Iron Shackles. We just need to do 2 more points of damage on this round to bring them to door. So he plays an Apprentice Wizard for a ping, and then he plays out a Summoning Sphere to start getting into position to be able to potentially deal with the Avatar of Air, who is still pretty defensively nestled back there. And the final ping from casting that takes Stu and Griff to door. And then on this turn, like what I'm discussing with Kellen is like whether or not like I have the Avatar of Earth continue to hold the Grim Kosarme, or if I drop it onto the site. So, I mean, if I drop it onto the site, the Shade can still pick it up and swing in for 4 points, or 8 points doubled, right? But if I'm holding it, I take 8-point swing plus another any other strike damage that they can get onto the Avatar of Earth would be doubled as well. And I think the better play would have been to just drop it and force them to try to pick it up and limit it to at least only doubling strike damage on one minion that they can get to swoop in and pick it up. But I mean, I don't know, for some reason we just I decided not. I decided to keep holding on to it, which gave Stu and Griff an opportunity here to get pretty close and catch up to where we're at. I think we also felt like Kel and I, we felt like we were in a pretty good position just because we were still at 22 life at that point. Playing 4 for a Pudge Butcher just to get that on the board to create a threat. And I think defensively moving back, taking a step back with the Avatar of Earth. And again, I think my thought process on that was I didn't want to take the 4-point ranged strike from Sir Boris, which would double to 8. Or no, actually it's like 10, I think, for Sir Boris. Because Sir Boris is holding the Excalibur. So it's 4 plus 2, 6, 12? Is that right? Like a doubled on a 12 a strike if it's hitting something with holding the Guisarme. So Griff and Stu in deep contemplation this round. This is kind of like a do or die round for them. They have to make up a lot of ground quickly, and kind of stabilize and get us the door if they want to catch up here. So they're talking about how much damage they can deal on this turn and if they can get to 22 or not. Stu launching a ranged attack with Sir Boris onto the desk speaker. And that's going to do 6 points out of the gate. Griff, he had a way to deal a lot of damage, and so he was just kind of walking through like how he was going to do it here. The Taurus Hammer onto the Shade, attacking in for 5, doubles from the Guisarme for 10 points in. That takes us to 6. And then they're just trying to see if they can come up with the last points of damage here. He's Griff asking if Stu can get 3 points of damage in, and it doesn't seem likely. The Host Eagle on my original home site attacking in for 3 points. That takes me to 3. And then we get to see super fun play here, I think. He had that Chaos Twister the entire game. He's gonna play it. He's gonna play it on Pudge Butcher, and ideally he's gonna blow that thing off of the back of his hand, a foot off the table. If it lands majority in on the site that the Avatar of Air is on, it will deal 5 points of damage to everything on that site, and it'll kill the Shade, but it'll also take us the door on this turn. So they're using a stand-in card for the Pudge Butcher. I think like tournament rules for Chaos Twister is that you just use an unsleeved standard card, like a Rebel token or a stand-in. And you have to be a foot over the table. You only get a single blow, and wherever it lands, majority in is where it hits. They got really close. They got they're one side away. So Pudge Butcher's gonna land there, deal 5 to itself, and everything else on that site, on top of that site. So unfortunately, like that was their Hail Mary to get us the door this turn, and they don't have the juice to do 3 more points. But that was a really cool and a really exciting play. We were all pretty thrilled during the game when Griff played that. It was fun. And I think they're just Griffin Stu talking to each other again, just double checking if they can get that final 3 points in. Griff still has the Avatar of Air, and they were entertaining, pushing up Tom Thumb, but Griff forgot that Tom Thumb had the chains on them and is disabled, unfortunately. So that's not going to provide any benefit for them. So I think they're a little disappointed that they got so close to getting us the door, but just weren't able to get those last few points in. I mean, looking at Stu's hand here, he's got a Burning Hands. I think he's trying to hold on to that Burning Hands. And if he had a way to use the Burning Hands to get us to get us the door, I think he would. So they're playing a Peleus, and then they're playing a grapple shot on Sir Peleus. I didn't realize Stu had a grapple shot in his hand. So he's got a grapple shot into Sir with Sir Peleus into the Avatar of Earth for the final points of damage to bring us the door here, which surprised even them. They didn't see that line until the very end there when they were scraping the bottom of the barrel, trying to get those final maneuvers in. Templar is just moving. Again, at this point, we're both at door now. It's pretty scary. Like, everybody's just trying to get into as best a defensive position as they can. There's a lot of kill spells here that can the Phantasmal Shade, just cleaning that up, it died when it attacked into the Avatar of Earth, and he chose to attack into the Avatar of Earth and not the site the Avatar is on, just to get that additional doubled strike damage. So Kellen and I are looking very closely at how we can get 2 hits on door here on this turn. And it's pretty tense now that both teams have entered Death Door, and the way that you win a 2-headed dragon match is that once you're at Death Door, you have to tag both of the other team's avatars on door to win the game. You can't just get one; you got to get both, and you don't have to get them both at the same turn, but you do have to get both. Ideally, you would get both at the same turn to close it out, and not give them the opportunity to make something happen. With one more turn, but we're doing our best to try to figure out how we can do that. Kellen's still holding that Ring of Morgan on the speaker, still in position nearby, so at the very least all he has to do is cast a spell this turn, and he can deal the point of damage to Stu to bring the Templar to bring the Templar down. The rules for Two-Headed Dragon, again, like I'll leave a link for the Beast of the Bay website in the description of this video if you want to look at the full rules. But there are some additional rules for kind of what happens when you get the door and how you finish the game out. Once somebody gets hit with a point of damage on Death's Door, if the game is not over, so if your partner is still alive, you still get to keep playing the game with your avatar. You just can't draw any more cards for turn. So you can play with what you have in your hand still. You can play with what you have on the board, like whatever assets you have there. But you just lose the ability to get those turn draws.
So we're discussing, like I said, we're discussing pretty intensely. It really feels like if we don't tag them both here on this turn, there is a good chance that they're going to be able to tag us on our turn here, on their turn if we pass to them. Like Serpelia sitting right on top of me with the avatar of Earth. I can't get away from that thing. We've got to like kill that, or I'm going to the door. Kellen kind of like pretty close to the Templar, like in a decent position, just because he's diagonally across from him on the squares. Like it makes it more difficult for the Templar to just move and attack in for the point of damage. Which like Kellen doesn't know this during the game, but like we can see, like we saw earlier, that Stu is holding a burning hands in his hand. So I mean, he could just take a step forward and burning hands to get Kellen. So we're talking right now about kind of like how we deal with the threats that are on the board right now, and I think Kellen has a pretty clutch card that we're gonna see hit the table here. We were just kind of like double checking to make sure that was our best option, and then I'm reminding him not to, like, he's trying to take a step first. I'm trying him not to do that. He has to cast the spell first in order to ping the Templar, and then he can do his move to reposition himself. So he's gonna play. So he's gonna play his card. He's Kellen, methodical player, just kind of moving his root spider, under to disable Serpelius, but it doesn't matter, because the next card he plays is a Death Dealer. So the Death Dealer is just going to kill all other minions in the realm, which includes the root spider. But that does that removes the Serpelius, and removes Tom Thumb. Tom Thumb can come back in. He's had the death right back in the hand, but leaves us in pretty good position here, like pretty good defensive position. If Griff has a kill spell, so if Griff has like a lightning bolt or a magic missile, that's just going to round out the game here for us. There's not a lot we can do about that. I'm playing an Atlas Wanderer to move forward and put some more positional pressure onto the Avatar of Air, to limit where it can go safely. That was 5 mana. And I think that is is that all the mana that I have, or do I have one more at this point? I'm not sure what we're discussing anymore at this point. I think we're just like kind of like we're coming to we're making peace with the plays that we made and where we ended up here. I think I'm just discussing where I'm going to reposition myself for this last move here, and I'm trying to like probably reposition myself as defensively as I can. And tapping out for a common village, creating the token, and then passing. Just the common village. My train of thought is like, even if I stick around for another turn, at least I have a blocker on board now, close to the Avatar of Earth. Stu, I think, just regretting that he doesn't have
he was hoping that we would move ourselves into a configuration where he could just play out the burning hands and tag both of our avatars with that one spell. But the way that we have kind of sat ourselves, it makes it difficult to do that. So instead, what he's doing is, I think that he's just moving to line himself up with Death Speaker, and then he's going to use the burning hands to deal the point of damage to Kellen. Here, still using those multicolor tokens on the avatars to denote whether or not they've had the final point of damage dealt at death's door. So Templar's been tagged, the Death Speaker has been tagged, and it is up to Griff here. I don't think Griff drew a kill spell this turn. Otherwise they would have been excited and they would have played that already. So no lightning bolt, no magic missile. And then he's tabbing for a sight and then flying over to it to try to escape. And then defensively playing out a Cloud Spirit as a blocker and a Sling Pixie as another blocker. So passing turn back to us. We have to get that final point of damage onto the Avatar of Air. And we don't want to give them any more turns to try to tag the Avatar of Earth. We do have that Summoning Sphere over on that side of the table, which is huge for Kellen. It all comes down to Kellen. The problem is Kellen got tagged at door, so he doesn't get to draw cards. But he's going to use his ability to use the Genesis from the Apprentice Wizard in the cemetery to draw a card, and we decided that was legal to do a draw that way, since it wasn't like card for turn. He drew into a Nimbus Djinn, and he got excited because he thought he could just land it onto the Avatar of Air's head, but he's one square away. However, he does have a blink, so he summons it. He summons the Nimbus Djinn. He blinks it. That's all 8 of his mana, and then discards down for the final points of damage. He did have to do 50-50 rolls, but he had I think like four cards left in his hand. So that was a pretty long game, but it was pretty fun. These games, they're, like I said before, like they're more social. They're pretty enjoyable when you're playing them. We're just kind of hanging out, having fun, and it's cool to kind of play with your friends, see the kind of weird combos that you can make with this extended board and with the kind of 2v2 teams. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.